Jack Thunder Morrison had seen every kind of trouble the road could offer in his 23 years with the Hells Angels, but nothing prepared him for the innocent voice of a 7-year-old girl at Miller's Diner on Highway 87. As he sat nursing black coffee, small fingers pointed at the winged skull tattoo covering his forearm. "Hello, sir. My older sister has that tattoo, too," she chirped. The words hit Jack like a freight train. His sister Sarah had vanished 15 years ago, leaving behind only questions and a matching tattoo they'd gotten together on her 18th birthday. Jack's hands shook as he pushed through the motel room door. He collapsed onto the sagging bed, reaching for the worn wallet in his back pocket. Sarah's letter lived behind his driver's license, folded so many times the creases had worn thin as tissue paper. "Jackie," the letter began. "By the time you read this, I'll be gone. I can't explain everything, but I need you to know this isn't your fault. The people I got mixed up with, they're dangerous in ways I never imagined. If I stay, everyone I love will suffer. Someday, when the sun sets differently and the shadows change, maybe we'll find each other again. P.S. Look for me where the eagles nest and the water runs backward." The knock came at exactly 10 p.m., Miguel's signature timing. His road brother never knocked early or late. Jack opened the door to find Miguel Ramirez, his weathered face creased with concern. "Heard you had some excitement at Miller's today," Miguel said. At 52, Miguel carried the quiet authority of someone who'd seen combat before finding brotherhood with the Hells Angels. Jack handed him the letter without explanation. Miguel read it twice. "How long since you looked at the postmark?" Jack blinked. Miguel pulled out a flashlight and angled it toward the faded postal markings. "Crescent Bay, Oregon. Postmarked 3 days after she disappeared." "Miguel, what if that little girl today wasn't just some random coincidence?" "Then we better start planning," Miguel said. "If we're going to Oregon, we're going to do it right." Dawn came too early, but Jack was already pacing when Miguel emerged. They returned to Miller's Diner, hoping to catch the little girl and her family. Jack spotted her immediately. The same bright yellow jacket as she colored in a book while her parents studied a road atlas. Miguel touched Jack's arm. "Easy. Let me do the talking first." They approached with careful deference. The father looked up first, kind eyes and the soft build of someone who worked behind a desk. The mother appeared more cautious. "Excuse me," Miguel said gently. "I'm Miguel, and this is my friend Jack. We were wondering if we could speak with you about something your daughter mentioned yesterday." The little girl, Emma, looked up with the same bright smile. "It's the man with the pretty tattoo. Did you find my sister?" The parents exchanged confused glances. "Emma, honey, what are you talking about? The man has the same tattoo as my sister Sarah." Jack's legs nearly buckled. The father gestured for them to sit. "I'm David Henderson, and this is my wife, Claire. Emma is our adopted daughter. Maybe you should tell us what this is about." Miguel outlined Jack's search. "We adopted Emma 5 years ago through a private agency in Denver," Claire said quietly. "Her biological family situation was complicated. We were told her older sister specifically requested the adoption to ensure Emma's safety." David pulled out his phone. "We have one picture from Emma's file." The phone screen showed Emma as a toddler beside a young woman with dark hair and familiar eyes. "That's her," Jack whispered. "That's my sister." Emma looked between Jack and the photo. "Sarah said she had to go away to keep me safe, but she promised she'd always watch over me. She said someday I'd meet her brother Jackie, and he'd have the same tattoo to prove he was family." The drive to Denver took 3 hours. The Hendersons had given them the name and address of the adoption agency. Family's First Services occupied a modest building. The receptionist looked up nervously when 2 leather-clad bikers entered. "We're here about an adoption case from 5 years ago," Miguel said. Janet Morrison, the director, studied their papers. "I remember it clearly because of the unusual circumstances. The biological sister was very specific about her requirements. She needed assurance that the child would be placed with a stable family outside Colorado, and she insisted on maintaining some minimal contact through our office. You mean she's been in touch? Jack's heart raced. Was past tense. The last contact was approximately 2 years ago. A birthday card for Emma that we forwarded to the adoptive family. Do you still have records of where those communications originated? Janet returned with a thin file folder. The communications came from Oregon. Different cities each time, and the last one from a place called Crescent Bay. Jack's breath caught. The social worker's apartment sat in a neighborhood with peeling paint and broken street lights. Carla Rodriguez answered with weariness. Ms. Rodriguez, I'm Miguel Ramirez and this is Jack Morrison. We're hoping you can help us with information about a case you handled several years ago. What kind of case? The placement of a little girl named Emma. Carla unlatched the chain. The Morrison case. I'll never forget it. That young woman was so scared, but so determined to protect that baby. She returned with a battered file box. Your sister came to me through a police referral. Detective Maria Santos called me about a woman who needed emergency placement for her daughter. Said it was connected to a federal case involving organized crime. Your sister had witnessed something. Detective Santos said her testimony was crucial to convicting some very dangerous people. These criminals had connections everywhere. Carla pulled out a photocopy of a police report. Something involving a man named Marcus Valdez. Your sister's testimony helped convict him of racketeering, money laundering, and conspiracy charges. Jack remembered reading about Marcus Valdez in newspapers 6 years ago. Carla showed him a newspaper clipping dated 2 weeks earlier. Federal Appeals Court orders new sentencing hearing for convicted crime boss. Your sister testified against this man, Carla said softly. If he gets out, Sarah and Emma are both in danger again. Detective Santos moved to Oregon when she retired, Carla said. Crescent Bay. Said it was the kind of place where good people could disappear if they needed to start over. Detective Maria Santos lived in a small bungalow overlooking the Pacific. She looked up from her tomato plants with alert eyes. You're Jack Morrison, she said before he could introduce himself. You look exactly like your sister described you. You've seen Sarah recently? Recently is relative. But yes, I've seen her. Maria gestured toward chairs on her porch. Sarah's been in my unofficial protection for 6 years. She refused federal relocation because it would have meant never seeing Emma again. Maria pulled out a photograph showing Sarah working in a medical clinic. She's been living as Sarah Martinez, working as a nurse practitioner in rural Oregon. But she's never stopped looking over her shoulder. A new voice cut through the gunfire, amplified by a bullhorn. Agent Torres, this is Marcus Valdez. I want to discuss terms for a peaceful resolution. Jack felt ice water flood his veins. Mr. Valdez, you're surrounded by federal agents. Agent Torres responded. What I want is a conversation with the woman who cost me 6 years of my life. Sarah walked to the window. Mr. Valdez, I'll speak with you. But first, you need to allow medical evacuation for the patients in this building. Sarah Martinez, or should I call you Sarah Morrison? Your brother's been very helpful in leading us to you. The words hit like physical blows. Let the patients go, Mr. Valdez. This is between us. I'm afraid it's more complicated. Your brother is here right now, watching this conversation. Jack Morrison, I know you can hear me. Jack realized they'd been under surveillance. Miguel grabbed Jack's arm as he started to stand. Don't give them what they want. But Jack couldn't bear it. He stood from the drainage ditch and walked toward the clinic with his hands visible. Valdez, I'm Jack Morrison and I'm coming out. The gunfire stopped. Through the clinic windows, Jack could see Sarah's face transform to horror. Jack, no! Sarah's voice carried across the parking lot, 15 years of suppressed emotion breaking through. Marcus Valdez emerged from behind an armored vehicle. Mr. Morrison, your reputation precedes you. He pulled out a manila folder. Your search has been quite educational for my organization. Maria pulled out a bundle of letters tied with ribbon. These are letters she wrote to you but never sent. One for every birthday, every Christmas, every anniversary of the day she disappeared. Jack's hands trembled as he accepted the bundle. Jackie, today you turn 42, and I wonder if you still ride the mountain roads we loved as kids. There's something else you need to know, Maria continued. Valdez isn't just appealing his conviction. According to my sources, his organization has been systematically tracking down everyone connected to his prosecution. 2 other witnesses have disappeared in the past year. Your search for Sarah isn't happening in a vacuum, Jack. Other people are looking for her, too. The journey to the interior valleys of Oregon took them through forests so thick the afternoon sun barely penetrated. At a truck stop outside Bend, Diesel Murphy, a bear of a man, recognized Jack's Hell's Angels colors. Thunder Morrison. Heard through the grapevine you were heading this direction. Strange coincidence. Someone else was asking about Hell's Angels moving through Oregon just last week. What kind of someone? Corporate types, expensive suits. Said they were conducting some kind of security assessment. Wanted to know about biker movements, club territories, recent arrivals. They reached Pine Ridge, a small town that served as the last supply stop. Miguel pulled into the gas station. Jack, we've got company. A black SUV with tinted windows sat in the diner parking lot. Could be federal marshals keeping an eye on Sarah, or it could be something else entirely. There's a back way, Jack said. Forest Service roads that connect to the valley from the east. As darkness fell, they proceeded on foot toward the coordinates Maria had provided. The clinic sat in a cleared area, its lights visible through the trees. Through binoculars, they could see vehicles parked near the clinic and figures positioned in a loose perimeter around the building. Jack spent the night watching the clinic. Dawn brought clarity when he recognized Agent Rebecca Torres through binoculars. Federal marshals were protecting the clinic. We need to get closer, Jack whispered. They used a drainage ditch until they reached the building's foundation. From there, Jack could hear voices through a partially open window. Sarah's voice, unmistakable despite 6 years of separation. I understand the risks, Agent Torres. But I won't abandon my patients. These people depend on this clinic. Ms. Martinez, Valdez's legal team successfully argued for immediate release pending appeal. He walked out of federal prison 6 hours ago. Jack's blood turned to ice. Through the window, Jack could see his sister for the first time in 15 years. She wore medical scrubs and moved with efficient grace. Agent Torres, what about Emma? If they're closing in here, she could be in danger too. We've already dispatched protection to the Henderson family. There is one other option, Agent Torres continued. We received intelligence that your brother, Jack Morrison, has been actively searching for you. If we could arrange controlled contact. No. Sarah's response was immediate. Jack's search is exactly what led them here. I won't put him in danger too. Miguel tugged on Jack's jacket, pointing toward movement in the parking lot. 3 black SUVs had arrived. Sarah, we're out of time, Agent Torres said. Emergency extraction now. But Sarah was already moving toward patient rooms. I have 4 people in treatment who can't be moved safely. The first shots came from the east parking lot. Jack heard Agent Torres shouting commands while Sarah continued working with methodical calm. Miguel, Jack whispered. We need to get inside. Through the clinic window, Jack could see Sarah moving between patient rooms. A bulletin board near the entrance caught his attention. Children's artwork including a crayon picture signed Emma H. showing a family with motorcycles. What do you want, Valdez? I want justice, Mr. Morrison. Your sister's testimony sent me to federal prison for 6 years. My sister was protecting herself and her daughter. But I'm not unreasonable. Your sister walks out of that clinic with me, and I guarantee you'll be allowed to leave Oregon safely. There's a third option, Agent Torres called out. Mr. Valdez, you're surrounded by federal agents with tactical support en route. Agent Torres, your tactical support is 40 minutes away, and my people have established roadblocks. You're operating with limited ammunition and the burden of protecting civilians. The sound of motorcycle engines echoed from the Forest Service roads. 12 Harleys emerged in perfect formation, bearing Hell's Angels colors. Leading was Tommy Iron Garcia, the chapter president from Sacramento. Valdez's tactical advantage evaporated. "Mr. Valdez," Tommy called out. "Seems like you've got yourself a complicated situation. Jack Morrison is our brother. You threaten him, you threaten all of us." Agent Torres spoke into her radio. "Gentlemen, I'm going to propose something that might benefit everyone involved. What I'm proposing is a formal negotiation under federal witness." She pulled out a recording device. "Everything said here becomes part of the official record." "What kind of legal weight?" Valdez asked. "The kind that could reduce charges if you cooperate. Or add decades if you continue threatening federal witnesses." Sarah appeared at the clinic's entrance. "Mr. Valdez, Agent Torres, Tommy, Jack. Before we proceed, I want my brother to know something important." She looked directly at Jack. "Jackie, Emma knows about you. I've told her stories about her uncle who rides motorcycles and protects people. She's been hoping to meet you since she was old enough to understand family. And I want you to know that every choice I made was worth it because it kept you safe. If this ends badly, don't blame yourself." Valdez raised an improvised prison weapon. "Very touching. But your family reunion ends now." The attack came from 3 directions simultaneously. But something none of them had anticipated was motorcycle engines from the old mining road. The reinforcements arrived in perfect tactical formation, 12 additional motorcycles. Jack realized the Hells Angels had been planning their own operation. The confrontation erupted into chaos. The gunfire lasted exactly 7 minutes, ending when Valdez's men realized they were surrounded by superior numbers. "Federal agents, stand down. Hells Angels, hold positions," Agent Torres called. "We have wounded civilians who need immediate medical attention." Sarah moved immediately toward casualties, treating both federal agents and Valdez's wounded men with equal care. "Miguel," Jack said quietly. "Is it over? Valdez is down. His organization is scattered." "Yeah, I think it's over." Agent Torres approached Sarah. "Sarah, we need to get you to a secure location. I need to finish stabilizing these patients first." Tommy Garcia approached Jack with a folder containing photographs. "Thunder, there's something you need to see." The photographs showed Emma at various ages, systematic surveillance. Valdez was building a comprehensive file on everyone connected to her testimony. "Agent Torres, what happens now?" Jack asked. "Now we implement joint protection protocols, but with significantly more resources. Valdez's communications provide us with actionable intelligence about his entire network." Sarah finished her medical work. "I'm tired, Jackie. Tired of running, tired of hiding, tired of letting fear make decisions for our family." She showed him a text message. "Emma's been asking about motorcycles and tattoos. She wants to meet her Uncle Thunder." "Sarah, what are you saying?" "I'm saying it's time to be a family again. Real family." 6 months later, Jack stood in the driveway adjusting the small passenger helmet he'd bought for Emma's first motorcycle ride. The bright pink helmet decorated with butterfly stickers was exactly what a 7-year-old wanted. "Uncle Jack, are you sure this is safe?" Emma asked. "Emma, I've been riding motorcycles longer than you've been alive," Jack replied, kneeling to secure her helmet. Sarah emerged from the house wearing her own riding gear. Miguel appeared from the garage. "Emma, your chariot awaits," Miguel announced dramatically. Emma's artwork covered the refrigerator, drawings documenting her evolving understanding of family. "Uncle Jack, when we get back, can we call the Hendersons and tell them about our adventure?" "Of course, sweetheart." Jack started the motorcycle. Emma climbed onto the passenger seat, her small arms wrapping around Jack's waist with trust that both humbled and terrified him. "Ready, Emma?" "Ready, Uncle Thunder." Sarah and Miguel followed on the second motorcycle as they rode through suburban Portland toward countryside routes. They stopped at a roadside park overlooking the valley where their journey had begun. Emma pulled out a new drawing showing their family riding motorcycles toward a horizon filled with possibilities. In the corner, she'd written, "My family adventures with Uncle Thunder and Aunt Sarah and Uncle Miguel." "Emma, what's this one about?" "It's about how sometimes families get lost, but then they find each other again, and then they have adventures together." she explained with profound simplicity. Jack looked at his sister, his niece, his brother Miguel, and realized that the ending he'd been imagining for 15 years had actually been a beginning. The road stretched ahead of them, leading back toward home and whatever adventures a family of choice might create.